My main question is: does this particular ruling kind of pave the way for constitutional carry, where you don't need, a concealed carry permit for every state that you are in? Does it eventually just not matter? Like if it's nationwide constitutional carry?
In my opinion, the entire country is constitutional carry.
It should be, but it's not because of different state regulations.
Well, I mean, I can tell you what the states can do.
Okay. Well, how come you're not breaking the law right now?
Who says I'm not?
Fair enough. I potentially think that, like I said, with the base of this ruling, yes, it could, become a potential now. New, thing where guess what? You can actually travel between state lines
right.
with your particular firearms and everything. Obviously, within reason, hopefully safely as well. And you won't be facing potential federal charges.
I do want to say that constitutional carry type stuff is actually growing in popularity throughout the states. I think I watched something on Timcast, and I think the information's out there that almost all these states, like in the past, they had more regulative laws on constitutional carry. That includes the state of Texas, where you were almost not allowed to bring your weapon out other than hunting, and that is completely changed in that state. It was states more like like an Oregon
yeah.
or Washington State that you were allowed to have to carry openly, and now that kind of seems like it's flipping as well.
As far as like Washington and Oregon are trying to move away from that, or
I don't know. I don't know if there's any active laws. I think it's just more of sections of states giving their people more freedoms on carrying a weapon. I don't know if Portland or Washington's fighting that. I know California is definitely one of those states that is trying to keep its. I'm just going to say it as blatantly as it is, as making their citizens less safe.
Yeah, well, I mean, and look, I'm with you on this one. It is. There's a reason that it is the Second Amendment to the Constitution.
Correct.
Right behind, free speech and freedom to assemble.
The Second Amendment, in my personal opinion, is there to protect the First Amendment.
And I have been saying that there is a reason that the whole arms debate, we'll say,
right,
is number 2 on the list.
Right.
And I mean, a lot of people just don't get that.
I think I think it's even more far more limited than it should be. Now, can you own like a machine gun or an automatic weapon? Yes, but you have to have a special kind of permit.
Okay.
That lists you as such. And I think permits. I heard this off MPS as well. A permit is basically a permission.
Yeah. Hence the word permit.
Right. They're giving you permission to, and they don't need to give you permission. No. The Second Amendment says that you can. So basically, any kind of weapons permit is unconstitutional, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of agree, but I mean, where's the limit on that? Like, you brought up Tim Pool. Now, he notoriously is famous for saying that you could potentially own a nuclear weapon.
Exactly.
So where do you come on? Let's use logic here.
Where do you go?
Obviously, normal people are not going to own nuclear weapons. They're not going to own chemical weapons. They're not going to own biological weapons.
The line is, where can you limit this? Can I drive down the street driving a tank.
Yeah.
A tank that has a.
Well, apparently that's illegal in LA, as we have seen on the news before.
Was it illegal because he didn't pull over for the cops, or was it illegal because he was driving the tank?
He stole it. He stole it.
Well, he stole the tank, so he already broke the crime. What if he owned the tank? What if he owned the tank and decided just to drive down the highway in the tank?
Is it tagged?
Saying that he can go a reasonable speed down the interstate.
Is it tagged? Does the tank have a license plate?
That's
That's where they get you.
So
legal loopholes.
It's not the fact that it is a tank, that it is a weapon. It is the fact that it is a vehicle driving on the highway.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
I mean, if you had a license plate on the back of the thing, guess what? Have at it. I think they would have. I mean, yeah, they'd be like,
so is it illegal?
Tank, there's a tank driving down the road. Do we try and pull this thing over, or
is it illegal for me to drive a fully armed tank around my own backyard?
I don't think so. I don't think it should be. I mean,
people
own tanks, right?
There was this famous case a long time ago. It was like this guy murdered some actual U.S. Olympic wrestlers. I think his name was. I think he was DuPont, from the DuPont people, from the DuPont family.
Okay.
And
did he murder him with a tank?
No, he did not murder him with a tank. He was driving, like they were trying to arrest him, and he was driving around his property in a tank. I don't really remember a lot of this, but I do remember that it was on the news in live coverage of I don't know what his first name was, but his last name was DuPont, and he's part of the DuPont family. They were very wealthy, and he was driving around his yard in a tank while the police were trying to arrest him. And I do not think they actually did arrest him. I think he either committed suicide or the cops killed him.
Fair enough. Oh yeah, man, I would love to hear more about that.
That's something we'd have to look up, but. If you know any more, then put it in the comments.
Let us know definitely down in the comments. Jesus Christ, that's a crazy story. Almost as crazy as a guy driving down the 405 with a tank.
So we were talking about the limitations of what is it our opinion or what the law says that we can or cannot have under the Second Amendment.
I mean, come on. Let's use common sense here, people.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Your opinion.
In my opinion, obviously...
Where's the line get drawn?
The line gets drawn at anything that gets you charged with a war crime if you use it.
Well, you're saying if you use it. I'm talking about if you own it.
Oh, well, I mean, come on. I mean, you don't want to own anything that could potentially get you charged with a war crime.
Well, you could use a freaking pencil and get charged with a war crime if you're doing the wrong thing with it.
Well, I mean, okay, all right.
You think about these commanders and generals.
Let me reassess.
All right, I'm gonna talk about your reassessing. These generals from I can't remember what the countries are, Yugoslavia or whatever. Mm-hmm. They may have never actually picked up a gun, but they were charged with war crimes. Because of either what they said or what they wrote.
Right. Yeah. I mean, okay. That's fair. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, like I said, let's apply logic here.
Okay.
I would say, and this is kind of where I'm at on the whole entire arm thing. You can own up to ballistic missiles.
Ballistic missiles? Do you think that's
that's where I think the line
right.
kind of is. In my opinion, you don't want to have weapons of mass destruction.
So if this ballistic missile can be fired from our country and into another country, what do you think? What do you think about that? You have the capability to start a war with a foreign country.
God damn it! Fuck. Hopefully you're responsible enough not to do that.
But do you think people actually... I mean, you think people actually
Hopefully. I would like to have faith in people, but I kind of don't.
I think now that so I never actually thought of that before this exact point. Before you said ballistic missile, I was thinking, you know what? You could shoot those missiles into Mexico and start a war with Mexico.
That'd be a short war.
Maybe that is where I would draw the line. Maybe the idea that a citizen of this country could start a war with a foreign country is actually where you should draw the line.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's fair. But at the same point in time, as Tim Pool has stated, you know what, you got to amend the Constitution to be able, to cover that, with the way the technology and everything has grown.
Right.
Obviously back in 1776, ballistic missiles, nuclear weapons, chemical weapons, biological weapons, they weren't a thing.
I would say that the most powerful weapon right now is actually a computer.
I actually kind of agree. Misinformation.
So are at some point under the Second Amendment computers going to be protected by the law?
Or do they become illegal?
But how the Second Amendment would protect it? I could claim that a computer is a weapon.
Well, yeah.
Is arms.
That's true. I mean, computer viruses, malware,
right?
Spyware,
hacking,
all kinds of different caveats going on there.
And I would be fair to say that you could probably start a war with a foreign country by using a computer.
Yeah. All it would take would be crashing their economy and then having proof of your IP address.
Yep, shutting down their electric grids.
Yeah.
Or any other.
I mean, let's be realistic. That's kind of how the next iteration is going to go.
Right.
We'll say.
I mean, it's going to go. It's already going. There's already wars going on, I'm sure, within the internet. And I don't think it's based within countries either. I don't think it's outside of their own countries. I think there's wars going on technologically within countries.
That's an interesting take.